The At Home Show.
If this doesn't win me Dad of the Year, I don't know what will. Out here risking my life, trying to catch a dinosaur. Or two. Or maybe just a small one. And I gotta do it before the at-home show starts, too. Oh, boy. You know, maybe I should just, cut and run. Ah! Happy birthday, Sam! Live from the Green Room Studios, from the spacious property of Bates Nursery and Garden Center, 3810 Whites Creek Pike, it's the At Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates.
All righty. Calm down. It's not the dinosaurs' time. If you scare him off, he won't be able to get them and catch them for the party that's going to happen.
My little boy's 3. He wanted me to catch him a dinosaur. It's the only way I knew how to do it.
Oh, okay. All right. Have you set the? I'll give you an Easter Bunny trap though.
Yeah.
It's Saturday morning. It means it's time for the At Home Show. I am Josh Cary.
And I am David Bates.
And everybody else is in studio, too. We'll be introducing everybody as they come along as we go. But first and foremost, happy birthday to Sam. Okay.
Yes, 3 years old.
Now?
Okay. He's quite the little scamp, just like his dad. Tell you what, it's going to be one of those days. It's not too hot, not too cold, not too warm, but it's kind of blucky outside right now, isn't it, David?
Well, it is.
Lucky. That's a technical term.
We do have a much more pleasant weather forecast than we've had in the previous week. Today, of course, is Saturday. And we're going to have a chance of afternoon thunderstorms. And that's not unusual for this time of year. But as you look across the week there, that theme will continue. And we're looking for a high of 87 degrees today, which is certainly appreciated, at least a 10-degree drop over what we had earlier in the week. A really grueling stretch of sizzling hot weather. But fortunately, we're not only going to have cooler temperatures, we're going to have rainfall associated with it. Without going through each day, you can pretty much say that we're going to have a good chance of getting between a quarter and a half inch of rain every day for the foreseeable future. With Tropical Storm Fred now in the Gulf of Mexico, the influence on the southeastern United States, and we're kind of in the track where we likely could get a significant amount of rain. So you should really update your weather through the week to make sure that there's no significant change, depending on the speed that Fred travels, and all that will depend how much rainfall actually drops. But it is going to be really a pleasant day today. I would say that we're looking at maybe 2 o'clock in the afternoon before there's a significant chance of rainfall developing. So if you got something you need to get done, get out and get it done pretty quickly. It's 74 degrees here in the Music City.
615-499-6690 is the number to dial to join us. If you want to, that'll go directly to the bat phone then, and you may leave a message if you're on if you're in the queue. You can get a call back and we'll get you on live. Hey folks, you can reach out and comment on the At Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates Facebook page.
Call us right here.
Yeah, right there.
All that.
See the bat phone? That goes right there. It's right
this
there.
This guy right here and Michael over on the control board. They'll get your messages. We also have Austin and Cary in the background, and Cary also has our Instagram messages for the At Home Show Instagram account.
Well, I'll tell you what. Can I ask Cary a question? And I probably need to ask the younger people in the room, because I just don't. I need to learn Instagram. I mean, it's a unique thing, and it's got really cool pictures, but it kind of flips and flops, and I haven't paid attention to it. So do we have any Instagram top, the top 2-3 to channel George Plaster, 2-3 things to do on Instagram to get how do you actually ask a question on Instagram?
Well, you can send a message.
Don't laugh at me because I'm old, and that's Cary
I'm
Gant
not
coming in.
laughing at
Yes,
you
you
because
are.
you're
You
old.
are most certainly laughing at me.
You can ask a question directly to a user, a business page or a personal page, or what we do is post a question sticker in our stories, and people can fill that out, and it goes straight to our account.
Huh.
Yeah, pretty
Josh,
exciting.
don't act like having young ladies laugh at you've got 2 daughters, so I know that you're accustomed to having that kind of
No, they don't laugh. They show derision to their father. That's what they do. They don't laugh. Okay, so I mean that's one of those things. But that's a neat format, and we're out there on it. We're on YouTube. You can go to YouTube. You can do it. We're on Twitter because we've already shared the feed live. If you want to get out there, and please share it so you can get us out there and see what's going on. Speaking of Instagram, by the way, what, David?
Go ahead.
No,
I'm going to say the same thing you were about to say, so you go ahead and say it.
see, we have that connection. See, we have that, that mind melt. Look at me. You finish the questions as we go along with it. Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can go right ahead.
Okay. Do we have some Instagram questions to get us started this morning, Cary?
Yes, we do. Are you ready?
Yes.
That was a pretty cute exchange between the two of you, by the way.
I can't quit him. You know how it is. You know?
I know.
We strive to be cute, if nothing else.
I would say adorable. All right, our first question we have is, I have a sweet shrub that I planted this year in a spot that roughly gets 3 hours of direct sun. All of the leaves, with the exception of about 2 inches of new growth, are covered in small brown spots. Thoughts on that? And that's from user Debbie Flores.
Well, let's talk about Calicanthus, Austin.
All right.
Doesn't sound like very much sun for a Calicanthus to me. It sounds like it's excessively shady. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Calicanthus needs all day sun, like blazing, horrible hot sun or anything. But more than 3 hours is probably better. But it's obviously living there and can be okay. Now, the spotting is probably some fungal issues that Middle Tennessee is well known for. It's rare, actually, for a Calicanthus to kind of get through the whole season without any little spots going on. Hydrangeas are very similar in that way. So it's a deciduous plant, which means it drops its leaves at the end of the season. So maybe not something you would have to worry about so much this year. The brown spots that are there are not going to get better with a spray or anything. They are there to stay for the rest of the season. So if you wanted to get on a spray regimen maybe next season to keep the fungal stuff at bay, you can do that early, but you got to do it before it presents itself. So also good practices to never water leaves, just water the roots. So that could be an issue that's going on too. So
I think a lot of that, don't you think a lot of the advertisements that people see about plants, particularly in the big boxes, they show these people spraying with a hose on the foliage, and there's almost no plants at all that benefit from that. I mean, it's okay as far as it doesn't, unless you're talking about, the chance for foliar problems. But really, you don't need to ever water the foliage. I mean, I guess if you had a severe drought and you had a lot of dust that had collected, it'd be fine to wash it off from a photosynthesis standpoint. But the foliage does not take up water. Only the soil does, and the roots through that soil. So it's important to remember that. The other thing to remember is that the Calicanthus, or sweet shrub, is deciduous. That means it's going to drop its leaves, so you get a new start again next year.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you, Austin. Cary, you got anything else?
I do have quite a few more.
Okay.
Great answers there, by the way. This comes from DLF36. I would like to lay new flooring in the downstairs of my home. What's your opinion on vinyl versus laminate flooring? Take it away.
It really doesn't matter what my opinion is.
I think it does. They want to know.
When you talk about vinyl sheet goods, they're kind of expensive, but so are the laminate floors. So, I mean, I think it goes more to the look that you're going to want to try to do.
Well, as a personal preference, Josh, which you like the best?
Hardwood.
Well, Josh, I don't think that was the question.
No, but I mean, they asked my opinion, and I like sanded finished floors, but some of the pre-finished stuff that's out there is great. Some of the Pergo type products are great as well. They're easy to do. I mean, a lot of folks do them at home. So,
the biggest problem I have with those pre-finished laminate floors is that those little grooves, even though they're really finished well, there's little grooves in between each one of the.
It's a design feature, David. It's not a okay.
Well, it's a place for cracks for dust and dirt to accumulate.
Yes, of course it is. But that's how they get it to where it'll go together and have you that nice, consistent kind of a look. But sheet good vinyl, hey, that's old school. I mean, there are a lot of country kitchens in Middle Tennessee that have still got it that are holding up pretty well. And
that's what I grew up with.
Oh yeah, I mean, what did you have? Did you have the simulated, genuine faux tile, the Mediterranean variety in your kitchen, David Bates?
Oh no, we had the sheet good vinyl. That's what we always had, and then and I don't.
Oh, they had all kinds of patterns though,
and I don't think they ever took up what was there originally.
Oh, you just go right on top,
layer.
man.
Yeah, put another layer. It gives a little more cush that way, So 615-499-6690.
I hope that answered the question. It really comes down to what they want to have in their home and the look.
There's not a right or wrong choice, John.
No, not in my opinion at all. So.
What else you got, Cary?
Yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
Yep.
So there it is. Michael, I feel like this question you could weigh in on. My hostas are taking over. They have been planted for about 10 years. Can I dig them up and separate them? That comes from VV642.
I don't know. I mean, she finds out, let me know, and then you can come dig them up. So I just
I know
burn
you
Is
them.
that like
some feelings
separating
on
eggs? Where you separate the eggs? Is that how that works?
Is that how it works? I don't know. Austin, what do you think?
Pretty much. I mean,
Separating the eggs? Yeah.
Separating hostas is actually a really easy thing to do. I mean, you just dig up as much root as you can, get the dirt that comes with it, out of the ground, and literally just kind of lay them on the ground and just kind of peel them apart off each other. I mean, each individual plant, it looks like one big plant whenever a hosta, has kind of swelled out and gotten large. But whenever you dig that up and get a bunch of that, the root mass down below, you can just literally separate each individual plant.
It's like little tubers, isn't it, Austin?
Pretty much,
okay.
yeah. I mean,
no. So, but the thing that I would think it'd be easier to do this time of the year because you can actually see where the hostas are. I mean, you can see where they are and where you might want to see them, and get some sort of a anticipation of the scale of where you're going to put them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's fine to do it this time of year. Don't get me wrong. It's just that you got to keep an eye on them a little bit more. So it's hot. It's been fairly dry. Now we got some good rain yesterday, but anytime you're moving stuff, you got to make sure it stays moist. And this time of year, it's just a little bit harder to do that on you, not necessarily on the plants. If you keep the plants moist after you transplant them, they're going to be just fine. Especially hosta. I mean, they're probably the easiest shade plant to grow on earth. I mean, there's a
I do it, and I didn't even know I was doing it.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
how easy it is.
That's how easy. I mean, literally, it really is. It's not hard, and they're going to live. It's rare for a hosta to die when you do that. Just if you are doing it this time of year, like I said, just keep an eye on them.
Now, David, is that what Renee puts the bone meal on, and as the natural fertilizer for them? Is that what she uses bone meal on?
She actually is more of a fan of using supernatural compost.
Oh, okay.
Because it has a high level of fertility, so she puts that on almost everything around our gardens or at our home. So it does a really great job.
Oh yeah, and adding that too after you finish your your planting of your hosta, just top dress with the supernatural right on top. You can even mulch on top of that if you're going to do that for moisture retention, and then that'll just sit there and slowly leach down to the root zone of the hostas, and they'll be fine.
Because they'll pop next spring like anything you've ever seen before, I'm sure.
Oh, easy. Yeah, they're a tried and true. Going to come back for you without a problem for the most part.
Very good.
Yep.
Very, very good. 615-499-6690. That's the number to dial to join us. If you're watching on Facebook, hey, give us a shout and give us a like and tell us that you're out there looking. We're looking for you.
Same on YouTube. Check that out.
YouTube.
Give us a follow, subscribe, all those things.
All right.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy?
Yep.
What's the derivation of easy peasy?
I don't know what a derivation is, so I don't know.
It just rhymes.
Lemon squeezy.
There you go.
Lemon squeezy?
That's what I was always told. If you say something different at all, I'm just going to assume it's because you got hit in the head.
Something different at all?
Yeah. Oh. See, exactly. You just proved my point.
Well, I did get hit in the head once or twice. All righty,
615-499-6690. That's one way you can get in touch with it. You can either call and leave a voicemail, or you can text us at that number, or you can go through our Instagram page, as Cary's been reading off some of the questions there. Josh also manages our at-home show Facebook page. So if you go through that medium, Josh will have that question for us. So check that out. And kind of a radical change from a couple of weeks ago, or to be sure, and earlier this week, where we've had just extreme hot weather, and we're looking at much more favorable planting conditions coming out in the landscape. There has been a lot of trepidation, to be sure, about planting when it's so hot, and certainly the cooler, more moist conditions are a welcome sight for all us gardeners. So I think it's kind of an excellent prelude to fall. I may have jumped the gun last week when I was on my newsletter about the dog days being done. As a matter of fact, they officially they were over on Wednesday, but now it seems more official since we've had cooler temperatures and rainfall.
Well, jumping the gun is not necessarily a bad thing, David. I mean, you thought you were right. I mean, a lot of people think they're right about
preparation.
Things.
It's advanced preparation. Maybe not jumping the gun. Kind of like me jumping around here on the screen. I seem to have the jitters a little bit.
You're just dancing a little bit over there.
615-499-6690. Now, Cary, did you have anything else out there in the Instagram queue?
We do. I believe we have about 3 more questions.
Well, let's do one more then, and then we're going to do a little spot from Tyler. Are we going to do a Bates Nursery thing that you've prepared for us, or are we going to go to?
It's ready to go.
Okay, well, let's do this. Let's hear what Cary's got here, and we'll respond to it.
Let's get one more question in. This comes from a user. I love this username, Lip Gloss Queen. Yeah, it's a good one. My mixed containers that I planted this spring are looking a little sad. Suggestions on where to go from there.
All right.
Mine are too.
I think they all are. Mine are as well.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Oh. Yours are looking great?
Mine
well,
are
let us know why
right
they
now.
look so good.
Yeah, well, to be fair, mixed containers do get a little tired this time of year, honestly. They grow and they swell together. The biggest key with starting a mixed container is making sure your pot's big enough. That's I invested in a couple very large pots right outside of my front door, and they've got plenty of room to grow. Now, everything I planted in them didn't necessarily take off like some other things did. Other things took off and did better and look better right now. But that's okay. I'm okay with that. And mine look really nice right now, but a lot of them do get tired this time of year. So what you can do is either give them a cut back, which is welcomed by the plants for the most part, depending on what you're growing. You can cut them in half a lot of times, get them a good fertilizer, and they will push back until the fall season. Now, I will say, if you don't feel like doing that, and then honestly, stock right now with kind of summer annuals are not all that great around town. I mean, even us, we're pretty low on like the summer annuals. We're starting to kind of switch into that fall crop type of season. So what's going to happen is you're going to see pansies coming out, and they won't be long. Within the next, month or so, you're going to start seeing pansies. So if you, like I said, if you don't want to switch up your plants or anything, you can give them a cutback, give them a fertilizer, and they'll last until we get the pansies in. And then once pansies come in, there's a lot of more options for creating a nice mixed container that'll last through the whole winter. So
now, when you say cut them, you're saying take some of the plant away. You're not saying just cut it or trim it, are you?
No, I do mean trim it. Yes, I mean taking a plant that's 2 foot tall and leggy or whatever, and taking it and cutting it in half. A lot of people think that'll just kill them or whatever, but no, it usually rejuvenates them a little bit. So and like I said, with the fertilizing, they're probably depleted within the pot a little bit. So adding some fertilizer in the soil with it will get them through at least until you're ready to switch that out for the fall season.
Another pertinent piece of information regarding the size of the container is that it not only gives them more room to grow, it also minimizes the effects of air temperature. When the soil gets really hot, things just stop growing as well, particularly those that are more cooler natured plants. If you had all vinca, annual vinca in there, or lantanas that are very heat tolerant plants, it probably would not stress quite as much, but we tend to put a collection of things in there. So a larger container gives a greater volume of soil. And what that does is it doesn't get hot so fast. And when that soil temperature really gets up really high, it tends to, one, dry out quickly, and two, the plants react to it negatively. So the cooler temperatures that we're going to be getting over the next several days time well with cutting them back, fertilizing, and getting a new flush of growth to get those looking again as we roll into the later part of the summer season.
Mm-hmm.
Our sweet potato vine is looking amazing, by the way, Cary.
Oh, good.
So, I mean, it took over the pot. I mean, and it took over part of the yard.
It kept going.
It really did great.
That plant jumps when
pretty
it gets hot. That thing just jumps. It's amazing how quick it grows once it starts getting warm. And I think, David, you hit on it too. When it comes to the larger container, when it comes to not having to water as much, that's crucial, especially this time of year. I mean, when plants are tired, we're a little tired too. I mean, it's hot. You don't feel like watering when you get home from work. So a nice large container with those mixed pots are going to help you out a lot. Now, and do know though, early in the season when those plants are young and you first put them in, small plants in a very large container, be mindful of not overwatering them when they're young. As they grow, the water's not near as important like the overwatering. But whenever they're young, you can overwater the young plants quickly and then not have good success. So large container, make sure don't do too much at first, but then later on you'll be happier because you won't have to water near as much.
All righty. Do we want to go to our spot now, David?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. Pay attention.
It's never too early to get a leg up on what you'll need at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. Whether it's trees or shrubs, flowers or ornamentals, David Bates and his team have exactly what you're looking for, and they have exactly what you need to ensure it thrives too. If you're a Bates Rewards member, you can get 20% off all Monrovia products through Thursday, August 19th. Stop in and see us today. We're located 1 mile north of Briley Parkway off Whites Creek Pike and minutes from downtown Nashville. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, beautifying Nashville since 1932.
Downtown Nashville, Rivergate, Opry Mills, anywhere around the area, come check it out. Bates Nursery and Garden Center, and we have landscape professionals here like Austin and Cary and many others to help you get answers to the questions that you're looking for. So that was an impromptu audio overlay. How'd that go?
It wasn't real smooth there. It really wasn't. So, but that's okay.
It was like talking over somebody talking over.
Oh, I was talking. I did not realize my headphones did not tell me that the audio was going. I could not hear it. So there we go. I'm sorry about that.
That's okay.
It was kind of exciting.
We're trying to get with me shutting up, and so it can actually be heard.
Well, I tried, but you couldn't hear me.
Yeah, sorry about that. So,
as we have broken the fourth wall, we might as well just go ahead and tell everybody David is not inside the green room this morning. He's actually on an auxiliary facility. So,
I'm off site, but and every now and again the technical limitations are revealed, and I could not hear the audio on that spot. So, consequently, I talked over the top of it. Sorry about that.
Well, you could hear the spot. It's just occasionally in the background you'd hear, oh, David's talking about something.
It's all about the message. So yeah,
could it be when you muted the board, Michael?
Huh?
When you muted the board, did you mute the audio to David?
Oh, we don't need to be pointing fingers about this.
They're on the same channel.
All righty, folks. 615-499-6690. That's okay. But yes, like I say, the fourth wall has been destroyed, so it's all good.
That's the way it goes. We do the best we can.
Wouldn't be the at-home show if we didn't have a screw up here or there.
Well, and we are working. We all have been learning all about the new technology, and of course, it's
like Instagram.
But like a lot of people, I don't like going into work every single day. So, working through this gives me the opportunity to appear to be here, which I am here.
You are here.
Josh, I can see you. You're right there.
I know. Your eyes are so beautiful this morning too.
Yeah. 615-499-6690. We can hear Josh wax eloquent.
It's never too early to get a link up on
There we're going again. Okay.
See, they're on the same They're on the same channel.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, since 1998.
All right.
Now we know.
Speaking of something, did anybody see the Field of Dreams game between the White Sox and the Yankees? I bring it up because that was the most beautiful stadium I've ever seen in my life. They did it
I did see the Kevin Costner little trailer thing that he did. A little thing where he walks out of the cornfield and onto the field, and then it shows the players coming out. So I saw the kind of the lead into that, but I did not see the game.
It was
it was a great game too at the end.
It was a great game, Hollywood ending for it. But as far as like stadiums go, that was the most beautiful grass with the corn as the backdrop instead of like more bleachers. It was like the Cardinals didn't even play, and it was probably my favorite game I saw all year.
Well, it was kind of special. I mean, and if you haven't seen the Field of Dreams movie, I don't know who.
It's worth a go back and watch. 30 years ago. Hard to believe it's been that long.
Right. I still think The Natural's better, but
I watch I watch both those movies 2 to 3 times a year.
Oh, wow.
But it was a magical moment. Again, if we're going to be critical of it, I thought what they did was amazing, but I thought Kevin milked it just about 15 seconds too long out there in the field. Didn't it get a little draggy there?
Yeah.
So let's go on. Let's play ball.
I think part of the problem was that they didn't cue in. I mean, it's not maybe on him so much as they didn't cue the players in quick enough.
And
they were so, all in all, and I didn't like the fact that when he walked out of the cornfield that you could look back on the shot and you could see the cameraman standing in the corn. I didn't like that.
Well, don't be picky because I mean it was great and the soundtrack.
It is what it is.
But it was an amazing ball game.
Show talking over the commercial that's being on there. It's almost that kind of thing.
All righty, 615-499-6690. That is the number to dial. If you have an opinion about that, you can bring it up as well. If you have an opinion about anything, we're pretty full format out here, and we don't screen calls. Really, we don't get a whole lot of calls.
I don't
Change that. Call us.
I never answer, Josh. The calls get screened by others. Michael might be doing it, but not you and I.
Oh, that's true. All righty, 615-499-6690. Again, that is the way to bring it up. Folks, we have a lot of fun here, but there was some sad news in the world, and one of the true at-homies from the very beginning part of the day left us last week. Matter of fact, left last Saturday after the show. Lewis Dickerson was one of our original listeners because I knew him. Lewis was an at-homie. We referred to him as the Titan of Trim. He was an author. He came on and plugged his book with us a couple of times and then brought some other things along. True gentleman, raised 3 wonderful boys and it's got a bunch of grandkids and they're all great. And we're going to miss Lewis, but he's looking at us, I think, we go on.
Well, Jake and Holly are out there taking the family and carrying it forward.
Yep, and Josh and Jimmy and
I don't know Josh and Jimmy. I just know Jake.
Jake and Holly.
Jake and Holly.
Jake and Holly. Okay, because it's one of those blended names that we get in as at homies. They're all true at homies. But we're gonna miss you, Titan. That's okay. But everything's gonna be good. I tell you what, it's one of those August days. You were talking about the dog days. This is where we run into everybody slept in because it was hot. Might be getting a nice little rain shower this morning, and we're not up and
it's not as hot, but it's definitely muggy. The air you can
soupy.
Cut it with a knife. Yes,
kind of like gravy. But
it does make your watering last a bit longer. We don't have it things drying out quite so quickly. What kind of issues have you been seeing this week, Austin, with folks coming in and problems that they're dealing with? We've already talked about some foliar problems on the Calicanthus. What else are the things that people are coming in with that are issues right now?
Mainly probably water. That's always an issue, really, from start to finish. That's always an issue out here for most people. But people that have planted stuff recently, really, within the past couple weeks, and then having issues quickly. Whenever you have issues quickly with a plant, it's almost certainly water, and I mean not enough. So if you plant a shrub and within 4 to 5 days, you're starting to see it wilt, turn down, look bad, whatever. That's going to be water. I gotta emphasize that if a plant has some sort of pathogen or some sort of disease that's going to take the plant, that doesn't happen quickly. That's a slow process. An overwatering situation kills a plant slowly, and it makes it look rough as it is growing. But an underwatered plant shuts down very quickly. So if you see, like I said, if you planted a shrub 4 or 5 days ago and you're seeing issues now, it's because of water and it's because of not enough. So make sure you direct that water straight to the root zone of the plant. Like we talked about earlier, don't water the leaves, but just soak that thing really deeply right after you plant it. And make sure right after you plant it, you really give it a firm press. Make sure the soil doesn't have it's not loose down there. You really need to press really firmly. I even kind of stomp around the root zone after I finish planting. You need to make sure it's seated in there really well.
It helps you level it out and get everything.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why the initial watering is so important, because you want to make sure to remove any of the air pockets that could possibly be in between the soil that's in the ground and the root ball of the plant. You want that to have no air pockets at all. And the initial waterings are very important to help settle out those. So it's not only about getting it wet enough the first time, it's about getting enough water down there to move the soil into those voids and make it have a continuous column of soil around the root ball. And when you do that, the ability to water it gets a lot easier, because it has the ability to wick that moisture in from the surrounding soil. And when that occurs, that means the roots start to grow out towards it, and that ultimately makes your watering easier. Planting at this time of year, you can have equal success regardless of the heat, but it does require a lot more attention to the amount of water and more accurately the frequency thereof, so that you can get those in there and have success planting no matter what time of year you're doing it.
No, exactly. David used to talk about the fact that the end of the garden hose, or AKA hose pipe, if you have an attachment on it, usually those sprayer attachments have different kinds of settings. If you're standing out there for 2 or 3 minutes and spraying the base of a shrub, a large shrub, a 5 gallon or better, I would think even some of the 2s, seems like you're going to have to take it off of the spray setting or the mist setting and put it onto the soaker setting and set that hose right down at the base of that plant and let it soak in 5, 6, 10 minutes maybe. Right?
Oh, easy.
The shower setting works good. Also, using your index finger just to diffuse it slightly. That's the only one we had for a long time. That's the way I learned from my grandmother, is taking
which finger?
I use my right index finger. Now, you could use your left one, and you could probably use a pinky.
What about a thumb?
I'm a thumb guy.
I'm a thumb guy. I'm a thumb guy, kind of.
Definitely thumb.
That puts us at the top of the food chain, David. Okay, I mean these do.
Well, it's okay to have opposable thumbs. It's just a matter of I don't like the control I get with my thumb. My forefinger, my index finger rather, works a whole lot better.
Okay.
I'll have to try it.
But let it soak and just set back, check Facebook for a minute or two, and you go down that rabbit hole, and then you'll be able to, come back out, and then you pick it up and put it onto the next shrub, right?
Yeah, and also, too, after you're done with the first watering, maybe like the next day, a lot of times it's go back out there and look at it and press with your feet again. Like after it's settled a little bit, press it back down and make sure that dirt is, the soil is right up next to the root zone of the plant. So nice and settled is really where it needs to be.
Are you a fan of soaker hoses buried in the mulch?
I mean, it works in certain scenarios. Don't get me wrong. On the initial one, though, no.
Okay.
Not going to soak it like that. I mean, I'm not anyway. I'm a hose guy. Don't even need a wand. Don't, like David was saying, put my thumb or my finger over top of it and just soak it. Or I'll just lay it down at the root zone.
Right. Now, what about these great big, beautiful green and brown bags that they have all over the areas where they wrap it around the tree, and
they look ugly, but they work great.
They work great. Yeah. I mean, if you're going to plant and then have to leave, if you're a contractor or whatever, and you're planting a tree and then having to leave it and not be around, then yeah, I'd say use it. It's better than nothing.
But if they don't fill them up, it doesn't do a whole lot of good, right?
No, they're useless if you don't put water in them. It's like having a garden hose without turning it on and going to where the plants are, So they are, although I think they look deplorable, but dead plants look more deplorable, particularly the trees. Which is
what about a dead tree with a bag flopping in the breeze? Now
that is what you call not understanding the concepts involved in what you're utilizing. So
Tyler is wanting to chime in here.
No, it just makes me sad when you said that. Dead tree with a flappy bag. Are you kidding me?
Well, I mean,
That does sound sad.
I hope someone from the town of Smyrna is watching this morning, because I mean, there's a certain
Take care of your trees,
area-
people.
Oh man, I'm telling you, the consistency, and I mean, but you have to fill those bags up. I mean, just because you put it around there doesn't mean that it's not gonna condense, and you're gonna have all kinds of stuff in there.
okay, 615-499-6690. Cary, do you have any other questions out there for us?
Oh, do I? Let me get to it real quick. When should I start
Butter
planting
off
fall
guard.
veggies? This is from Miss KTG, which we're actually getting that question a lot here at the nursery.
Yeah, I should have mentioned that earlier. The phone calls have been coming in about fall veg for sure. It's happening. If you're doing seed, it's probably, especially if you're doing seed inside, it's probably good timing to go ahead and get started on doing that. Mainly your brassica family plants, which is the broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, kale, kohlrabi, all of that, collard greens, mustard greens. Now, those can be sowed, directly sowed into the ground here soon, but roughly mid-September or early September is when we start kind of. Actually, I think Julie said, David, next week we're getting in
next week.
some fall crops. We had so many phone calls, and we're kind of at a point at the nursery to where we have a greenhouse scenario, and it gets very hot in our greenhouse.
Right.
So we have young fall veggies. If we bring those in too early and we put them straight into our hot greenhouse, what they want to do is they want to go to flower and seed, and that's what we don't want. We want them to leaf out. One thing to know is that you need to get them out when it's warm enough for them to actually grow. So we need to get them big so they can produce, bigger fruit.
So you have to germinate first, even if you're starting with seed, and that happens better in warm conditions, but not too hot.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So we want to avoid too hot of days. This past week would have been a bad time to put out fall veggies. Obviously, we were in the triple digits. I mean, it was nuts.
Well, I've still got my above ground garden is still producing. I've gotten jalapenos and Anaheim peppers, and I'm just waiting for the tomatoes to ripen. I'm covered up with fruit, but we're staying real green so far. But I mean, when it comes in, it's going to be just like everything else. They're going to come in all at the same time, it seems.
They tend to do that.
This is the time of year that occurs to me that I think we get asked a lot, particularly in the springtime. How much garden spot should I have? And I like to tell people, whatever you're thinking about, take about 25% of that and plant that much.
Oh yeah.
And the reason is that August, where we are right now, arrives. And if you have planted, let's say you have planted this acre garden, which, some people do. I can't imagine taking care of that much.
Small truck farm.
I can't imagine a quarter acre, but if you're thinking really big, scale it down, because August always arrives, and this time of year, you almost, the more you have, that means the more weeds you've got to try to compete against, the more possible watering you might need to do, and the more other issues that can arise. So more is not always better. We obviously appreciate the opportunity to sell you plants to go in there, but we really want you to do well with them. And if you plant too much, it's not reasonable to expect you can do well with all of them.
Well, I have 2 jalapenos, 1 Anaheim pepper. Currently we have 2 tomato plants and 1 cherry tomato plant. We cannot eat all of the fruit that's coming off of it with 2 people in the house. Now we can share, but people get, no, I don't really want any more, because everybody else is passing around. It's good to share, but my goodness, I mean, I've got 4 quart mason jars of I'm trying to pickle my jalapenos in a different way than I've ever done them before without cooking them, but I think it's going to be 4 quarts of jalapenos is going to take us a year to eat, and we haven't even started the pepper popper season, because football hadn't started until last night. So just pass them out and let them help things go on. But where I was going with this is that they're still producing. I guess I hate to ask the question this way, is it okay to just go ahead and take them out, or do we want to let them grow and then move on? Is it one of those personal choices like laminate and hardwood and sheet good vinyl floor?
Yeah, it's personal. It's personal on that. You can keep them going. I mean, tomatoes and peppers will for the most part keep going until frost. If you're tired of them, rip them out. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Now, I will say, like
I'm running out of space is the biggest problem.
And well, some of those early crops too. It's me and Tyler and Cary actually did a webinar this week on some summer gardening tips, what to do and whatnot. And I kind of touched on that with leaving. We have our garden in the back, and I've got tomatoes and peppers that are still producing just fine. I'm letting them be. What I'm not going to let be is the cucumbers and the squash and the zucchini. That's if those short day crops are starting to get a little tired, not producing near as much, or simply you are tired of eating squash and zucchini for every single meal, and you're ready to be done with it, clean it up, make sure your area is nice and clean, and then let's get some fall crops going in there. It's about that time. So that's a way to create some space in the garden.
One thing that I'm hearing a lot is that folks are having problems with something called a tomato hornworm. A bad bug.
It is. It can be when numbers are high. They do a lot of damage very quickly. That's the reason I think why people, and they hide very well. For being such a large caterpillar, they hide on the plant very well. What you typically see is damage before you actually see the caterpillar. So you'll see total stems, all leaves knocked back all the way to the main stems, and then you'll end up finding a caterpillar that's on there. Easy to control when you find them. That's the thing. Now, cut them in half. Typically if you're in your pruner,
cut them in half.
I know, but
That's
typically
intense.
if you're walking in your garden and you're
It's a big bug too.
it is a big one, yeah. But for me, anytime I go to the garden and I'm going out to work with, and I always have a pair of snips on me, just to take off old leaves, whatever. Always have your snips on you. If you have a very large caterpillar, I hate to say it, but for me, it's I see that caterpillar, cut them in half.
Is it true? And again, I've seen that. I don't know how too many people that actually have a portable black light, but I understand that they fluoresce at night if you hit them with a black light.
Oh, that'd be cool. I've never heard of that, but I can kind of see it. The green of that particular caterpillar is a different kind of green.
You can see all your scorpions that are already in your yard too. I hear if you do that.
Yeah,
as well.
and I think technically that's a sphinx moth is what it ends up turning into. So a very, very large moth, kind of a night dwelling moth, I believe, is what that one ends up metamorphosizing into. So kind of cool. Another thing you ought to know is that if you ever see those hornworms with little white deals all across the top of the back,
Don't touch them.
don't touch them. Those are beneficial insects. We need to keep those. Those are little parasitic wasps that lay eggs on top of that caterpillar, and then they emerge, and then they end up doing the same thing year after year. So you get some beneficial insects in there. If you've never seen that, Google it. Just Google tomato hornworm with eggs on top of the back, and you'll see little white eggs on top of that whole thing. If you have that, let that thing stay. Do not cut that one in half.
David, did you want to tell us a little bit about Earthmix this morning?
Yeah, Josh, I was just going to say, look at the screen right there, and you'll see what we're going to talk about now. Right there. And we're going to talk about Earthmix garden products. And if you've had tremendous success in your garden this year, we certainly hope that you have. We want you to know that we appreciate. There's been a lot of great photographs that we've gotten through the Earthmix page on people's gardens this year, and it really gives you the opportunity to get maximum growth with the minimal amount of work as far as having to deal with pests and predators, because it gives your plants the vitality that they just can't get by using chemical type fertilizer. See, Earthmix garden products are 100% organic. They are sustainably produced. It's done so right here in Nashville, Tennessee. And we like to say, success begins at the ground level. And when you use Earthmix garden products, no matter which one you use, whether it's Earthmix Garden, Proganics O, Proganics I for indoor plants, if you're using Supernatural, either to revitalize your garden or to top dress around your shrubs for organic fertilizer content, or any of the other great Earthmix products, all are 100% organic and all are sustainably produced and available all over the Middle Tennessee, and not just Middle Tennessee, but all over the area. Go to earthmix.net and click on the Find Earthmix tab right there on the top right. And when you click on that, you'll see that a whole list and a whole host of places will come up, also up into Indiana and Ohio. So check all those out at earthmix.net. And remember this, success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earthmix garden products, and we appreciate you giving us a moment to talk about that. And using Earthmix products, we've been thrilled with the response that we've gotten from them. And all over the Nashville area, all over the Middle Tennessee, Kentucky. Check out all those locations. A lot of great sellers of the Earthmix garden products.
All righty. You know, David Bates, we've heard from Cary already, but you know what we haven't had yet this morning?
Oh, we
This
haven't
past
had. We missed it last week on a plant rant.
Well, we're going to get it in this week.
Yes.
Get excited.
Sometimes she just needs to vent a little. It's Plant Rants with Cary Gant.
Yeah, good morning again. Missed that song last week, but here we are this week. So, in case you're still wondering about that spot, if you couldn't really hear well with the double audio overlay, I am here to talk a little bit about that sale that we do have going on here at Bates Nursery. So, we're doing 20% off all Monrovia products through next Thursday. So I have a nice array of Monrovia, some of my favorite things that are out on the lot, and also some that we just unloaded off a truck yesterday, including this.
We just unloaded them and they're already on sale.
And they're already on sale. That's how much we like the public here at Bates Nursery. We give them good sales on good plants. So right here we've got the Forever Red Heuchera. I don't know if you can really see the color on video. In person, it's actually even brighter. We do usually have this in stock, but I've never seen it look this fantastic. Right, Austin? Doesn't it just look amazing?
I mean, front side and back side of the leaf is money.
It is a money plant. And speaking of money, you can get 20% off this plant this weekend through next Thursday. And just a couple other things that did come off the truck. We have this Gay Butterflies milkweed. This one's like pretty full in bloom right now. There's some that are budding out, so it's kind of a great time to buy this plant. I love milkweed.
Monarchs will say thank you.
They will say thank you. And
Is it perennial, Cary?
It is perennial.
Okay.
It is. It will come back year to year and actually grow pretty large. So that's exciting. This Japanese forest grass that we have actually throughout
Most honorable Japanese forest glass.
throughout the studio this morning. If you look in front of Josh at the table, it is lining the front. When it came off the truck, I knew I had to put it in this display.
That might be now. Michael was passing some pictures about his potential yard and looking for him. That Hakanakloa might be a good thing to put in where those hostas
there you
would
go.
be.
What I was asking is if you can identify any plants in those flower
They were
beds.
green. Yeah.
Yeah, I know they're green.
Okay. Some of them.
Okay,
These
but
are
this is still
great
my plant
additions.
rant.
Yes, it is.
So let's not get off topic
Right.
yet.
All right,
You did
right
miss me
there.
last week. All right, so coming on back to this side of the room. And then on my left, you're right, I do have some houseplants that we have from Monrovia. So usually we think about things on the lot, perennials, trees, shrubs, but in the houseplant section, we do have a few options. We've got a burgundy rubber tree that I have right here. Ooh, she looks fantastic in this lighting in the studio. She's shining. It's a really popular houseplant. It's a ficus. It's pretty easy to care for. And they grow really fast. You can top them if they get too big for your, living space. In front of her, we've got a Brahms Dracaena that comes from Monrovia. It's got this nice kind of maroon color.
It's a good mixed container plant, isn't it?
It is, yeah. Speaking of mixed containers, bringing it back around to this morning, you can pop that in a mixed container. We do have a couple, put some spillers. There you go. And then to its right, we've got the Guido aloe. It's the retro succulent variety. That's right. Monrovia's got a special line of retro succulents. That one's one of my favorites. We have a few in the houseplant area.
And at 20% off, that's an offer you can't refuse.
There it is. Who is that's in the studio right now? I don't recognize that voice.
I don't know, but he's plugged from Jersey Shore.
What about
Straight from
that beautiful Japanese maple to your right?
To my right, the Red Dragon Japanese maple.
Man.
It'd be great in a container. You could put it in ground. I know Austin just did a very informative webinar on Japanese maple. So if you want to come down, get one of these beautiful little plants, and you're wondering about the proper way to care for it, you could check out that webinar that I believe is on probably up now or will be soon.
I
Tyler
think
can
it's
let
up
us
on
know.
YouTube, on Bates Nursery's YouTube page.
Okay, so it's
Yeah,
there.
I think it's worth taking a moment to discuss it. And Cary, thank you for all that great information.
You are
on that.
so very welcome.
There's a whole abundance of other information that we have on our Bates Nursery Botanical Boot Camp link on the batesnursery.com website. And once you're there, you can see all the great things that both Austin and Cary have put out there, as well as our other landscape professionals. Ben has a number. Joy has several on there. Adam. So
Tyler's got a few.
Tyler's got a few.
Yes, he does.
So we've got we try to get everybody involved at that level because there's a lot of information to share, and we've got a lot of folks who are passionate about specific areas of expertise, and this gives them a great opportunity to be able to demonstrate that they can walk and chew gum at the same time. You know, we've got that going on. So if you've got questions about things in your garden, that's always a great place to start. I watched one with great interest that Austin did this. I guess was it last week or earlier this week on hydrangeas. It was really in depth, and if you have questions about how to best choose a hydrangea or what the differences in all of them are, he really does a great job of breaking all that down to 5 different kinds of hydrangeas that we carry here and the ones you need to be thinking about when you're making that kind of a choice. Hydrangeas have been front and center this entire season.
Amazing this year.
They never fail. I mean, well, some of them, I guess, fail a little, but
some
but for
failure in everything. We don't deal in absolutes when it comes to plants. We try to do statistical probabilities to give you the best shot.
Yeah, but I will say when it comes to like the panicle hydrangeas, which are like what you're familiar with is limelights or little limes or bobos, whichever ones you're using, those never fail. They never fail, and this season's been no different. I mean, there's still full show around town right now. Just a really easy, good plant to grow. So
I've got a bed of Annabelles. It's actually like a triangular bed with 10 of them planted in, and they're all one single mass now.
Yeah. Wow.
We cut them back heavily every year, and they've just been outstanding. Even once the blooms have gone past their prime and gone into the persistent stage, I still love that look, that kind of a chartreuse colored flower that they turn, and then they'll make a great dried cut flower for fall going in. So there's just a lot of attributes to look at with regard to hydrangeas, no matter which type you're thinking about.
I agree.
Absolutely.
All right.
Now, Tyler, do you have the input that we could go to input 2 here in just a momento? Because we don't need to forget that there's a certain person having a birthday today.
He's watching, and he wanted to see his picture on TV.
Well, that's important.
Well, it's usually on input number 2.
Maybe try.
I saw it showed up a moment ago.
This is what you call quality entertainment.
Yes.
It's almost as smooth as yours was, David.
Almost that smooth, and we've had some issues in the past weeks with that connection device there. I don't know if we did we do a test?
Well, we'll just do it the old-fashioned way. Happy birthday to
there you
Sam.
go.
Yay, Sam.
Okay. He's 3 years old.
Yes, he's 3 years
There
old.
you go, Sam.
Got quite the
big
scamp
number
going
3.
on. So, but
So
shall we all
Mom
say?
and Dad have survived
Hold on.
the terrible 2.
I was told terrible 3s are worse.
I agree. I've got 3
There
daughters.
he is.
3's worse.
Yep, 3 is
Way
worse.
worse. My 3-year-old is a nut job.
Yeah, wait till 14. See what happens.
He's a nut job. So
Quite
he's playing
the
with trains.
scamp. So, but
There he is. The Samster himself.
Yep.
He is a entertaining guy. He is. The fruit does not fall far from the tree, as they say.
We were where were we at? We took him to go get a Build-A-Bear after he get some stitches out of his ear, that whole ear thing. By the way, his right ear looks great. And we were
looks
in
like
there,
a Ford taxi going down the street with the doors open.
pretty much. So while we were waiting for his friend to come, we were in Bass Pro Shop, and he was looking at this charcoal grill You know what he said to me?
What's that?
He said, "Why don't you buy this?" And I said, "Why don't you ask your mom?" And he goes, "You don't need to do that." And I went, "Oh, but you're very wrong. You're so very wrong."
No.
So anyway.
Well, he's quite the cutie, but you keep in mind with these birthdays, you have to one-up them every year, and there's a bunch of them coming.
We're not doing anything crazy this year. We're just having over some...
You're getting him a dinosaur.
Yeah, a real-life dinosaur.
One, please. Thank you, sir. And Cary, I know that I think you still have another question out there in the
I do have one more. Let me pull that bad boy up. Here we go. Just bought a new house and would like to rework the landscaping with a southwestern theme. Are there any plants you would suggest? And that's from Cheryl Lilly.
Well, take it away, Austin.
All right, southwestern. We're not necessarily southwestern here in Middle Tennessee, not near at all, but there are some plants that we can use. Mainly, the first one that comes to mind is yucca. Using a lot of people now, if you want like a modern southwestern scene, what they use is like this either gray or white rock within the bed.
Lots of rock.
Lots of rock. And then space out things like yucca. Make them very individualized, I think. That's like I was saying, when people want that modern look, individualize each one of these yucca mixed in with, say, like a Taylor juniper to get some height, some tall, skinny height maybe on the corners or worked in within the bed. The use of grasses actually works pretty well for a southwestern theme, so mixing those in. And then when it comes to, say, cacti, Cary, you're the best at this, but prickly pear is a good one to throw in there to perennialize. It's a cactus that'll actually perennialize here and live without a problem. So there's options out here for that. Bring out some pictures for me and let me see the bed, and we can help you design something kind of cool.
What about some gnarly pines?
Pines are sweet. Yes.
Yeah.
Adding in conifers. Yeah. Especially I guess some that are funky kind of have a lean to them. Something that looks windswept, if you will, in the pine world. Yeah, would work very well as well.
Hopefully you're dealing with a sunny exposure, because all these things you're talking about are all pretty much full sun plants
with good drainage.
You almost need to have a southwest exposure to do it proper southwest planting.
Exactly. Yeah, your plants you can use in a shady spot to get a southwestern theme is much more limited. So we need some good sun. Pretty much.
Unless you consider the Japanese forest grass to be a southwest type of plant, which it's not normally considered that. But
no.
Beautiful shade grass or early morning sun type of grass to add some color. Certainly have a wonderful display of those on the set. So
what is the
great job of getting
what
all
is the plant to the to just immediately behind the forest grass? What is that we're seeing this morning?
It's a heuchera.
A heuchera?
Yeah, you got it.
There's like
Nailed
1,000 heucheras nowadays.
Heucheras and heucherellas. There are so many wonderful, cultivars of those. It's just amazing. Probably
they mix really well together, and that's
probably more of those have been developed than hydrangeas, and hydrangeas are a lot. So, but heucheras and heucherellas, great thing about them is that they add tremendous color to a shade area landscape without really having showy flowers on them. They do bloom, but it's not something that really attracts much attention. Maybe a few of nature's little creatures will visit, but they do add a lot of color and pop to an area that might not get a lot of flowers because it just doesn't get enough light.
Yeah, and then another good thing is they persist a lot longer than most other perennials through the winter time. Honestly, I mean, if they're out in the open and they're getting wind and it's cold, they don't look just great over the winter. Don't get me wrong, but if they're in a protected site closer to your home or something that's a little bit more protected, they'll almost stay truly evergreen.
Oh, mine did all year.
Yeah,
I had them in pots on my porch.
Yeah,
they look great through the winter.
Yeah, up underneath the porch, protected like that, with the frost not hitting them, they'll stay.
Yeah.
So awesome to use that mixed with the pansies and little Johnny jump 'em ups as the other people call them.
I like that name.
Violas is what I was trying to come up with.
Johnny jumps.
Yeah, mixing those in mixed containers where it's a good one to use with that.
Oh my goodness! All right. Well, the music means that we're finishing up here on this edition of the At Home Show. Next Saturday morning, we're going to come to you live again. Some of us will be in studio. Some of us will be breaking the fourth wall.
We'll be right here.
I mean, come on, it's all good to go. But hey, for the entire At Home Show team, we appreciate you being here. And hey, share the news. Share us out there on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook.
Everywhere.
Twitter, everywhere. Hey, hit up the podcast. There's a podcast available for you wherever you get your podcast from. We'll see you next Saturday.